All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I know we're late as hell, 30 minutes late. Look, I can give you all excuses, but let's be real. I'm legit eating. I just finished eating dinner, and we had microphone issues and a bunch of this shit. I know, breaking the fourth wall. When have I ever kept that shit up? All right, welcome to our UFC 210 pre-fight show presented by RepTheAdvocates.com and CrossBonesMMA.com. My name is Eddie Law from the ABQ with the R represent hat, Mr. Dave Rodriguez. How's it going, man?
Doing well. Always interesting Friday. It seems to be there's always some shit popping when we go live on these shows, Eddie. So much to talk about besides the card that we'll start out with, and then we'll get to it as 210, one fight short, but still some great matchups and a lot on the line in the main event. So looking forward to breaking that down.
One fight short? Which one?
With the Cynthia Calvillo fight, right?
It's still on, man. It's still on.
They actually saved it?
Oh, okay, they saved it. Here's the thing, though. Here's the fun part. And this is what I have. The problem that I have with NYSAC, all right? NYSAC. I just want to call him ball sack. What's it called in New York? Ball sack, okay? What the fuck? Like, you hate boobs that much? Here's why they wanted to stop it. They wanted to pull Pro Gonzalez because she has implants. Seriously. She has implants. Settle down there. Sorry, my dog's over here freaking out. What? Anyway.
Well, that's good to hear that they actually saved the fight, because that was the fight that a lot of people were looking forward to that fight, and a lot of people who are familiar with Calvillo, she was very impressive her last performance, and she's basically the new gal at Team Alpha Male that actually can fight. She's taking basically a Paige Van Zandt.
Now you're taking shots at Paige Van Zandt, bro. Come on, man. You can't take shots at people.
Hey, she can make her money elsewhere, whether it's Dancing with the Stars, doing other things. You know what I mean? It's all about the competition when it comes to, us talking about these fights. So Paige Van Zandt, we may see her return and be impressive, but for the time being, Cynthia Calvillo, a lot of hype behind her, and she's very impressive last time out. So this fight with Pearl, I definitely looking forward to seeing it. I'm glad that it did get saved, because I did hear about it being possibly saved, and I'm pleased to hear that it actually will be seeing that fight.
Yeah, and the reason why I cut it, Miss Gonzalez has implants. All right, why are you hating on boobs and NYSAC? Why you all hitting on the titties, man? Save the boobs. Was that one campaign that saved the tatas and whatever the hell? Like, do that shit. Okay. Here's the thing. In all seriousness, here's what they said. The reason they kept the fight going. They spoke with her physician, and after further review, we decided to allow her to fight with the implants in. Like, what was the alternative, motherfuckers? You gotta take them out? What's wrong with you, idiots? This is the thing, and people always got mad at me because I was like, they were like, oh, finally, MMA in New York, it has to happen. I'm over here sitting here like, I don't give a fuck if it happens or not, okay? Because every place is corrupt. We know this shit. We've seen Nevada do some fucking weird shit. And, Texas screwed a bunch of fighters before. It's almost like Texas and New York are like battling for number one worst commission ever, right? But New York, and I get it. It's new. It's a new thing to them. But you would think that the number one media market in the world would know what the fuck is going on and be able to get the shit together in time, right? So regardless. Yeah. So that was number one. That shit was weird. The other thing that was weird, and what was that?
No, I was thinking, like, on the topic of the or when the Holly fight happened, I mean, remember the referee? What the hell is his name? Todd Anderson? Yeah. Somehow that asshole is going to be reffing some type of fight tomorrow. So look out for him to be fucking.
Please, not the main event. It's got to be Herb or fucking Big John. Right?
Oh, yeah. I believe it's Big John, but at some point we're going to see that fuckhead Anderson ref some type of fight and probably ruin somebody's fucking chances at winning a fight or vice versa. But that guy's definitely going to be in the mix tomorrow for sure.
Yeah, that's fucking great. All right. The other piece of controversy, of course, if you watched the early weigh-ins, which I'm a nerd, I do, Daniel Cormier. So Cormier and Rumble were the last ones to weigh in, which I believe is a marketing thing to get people talking about the fight. Oh shit, they fucking wait till the last second. Oh, their weight cuts were awful. Here's the thing. With about 4 minutes left, Daniel Cormier shows up, jumps on the scale, 206.2. Yeah, 206.2. And everyone's like, holy shit, that's it, right? Because we're used to, you weigh in, if you don't make it, you're fucked. It's over. All right. Daniel Cormier goes to the back and then returns and weighs in again. Here's the thing. Apparently, he was told that New York State allows a fighter to attempt again to make weight, and then you get 2 hours to make weight. He's a pound, 1.2 pounds over. Here's the thing. Goes to the back for 2 minutes, returns, jumps on the scale, 205 flat. And nobody could believe he lost a pound and almost a half in 2 minutes. Okay.
Magic.
Well, here's the thing. Meanwhile, Rumble Johnson weighs in at 203.8, 1.2 pounds under 205. What's his 1.2 shit? You know what I'm saying?
Scale calibration issues.
Sorry, I'm chewing chips now. And I wanted to, but look, what do you think? Do you believe that conspiracy? Everyone's saying this is it's weight gate and shit. And we'll talk about the towel in a second. But let's just say, like, would you believe? Do you believe? Well, what do you believe happened? You think that maybe they fuck with the scale?
Yeah, I mean, it could be. I mean, where they put these scales, like the platforms that they are, could slightly affect that. You know what I mean? And like, I think John expressed like or voiced his opinion about Cormier and calling it like a real nasty, shady move what Cormier pulled. But all in all, it could be simple as like, the setting of the scale. I mean, sometimes there could be, slight or some error of some sort, and then it will reflect like what we've seen with Daniel and AJ. Because yeah, AJ, man, big motherfucker, and that guy's coming in at 203. So just so happened it has to be, the difference in what Cormier was over. So very strange. I mean, yeah, I mean, we've seen it happen before, though. Like you said, Eddie, it's not besides New York Athletic Commission. It's happened in Vegas. There's been weird stuff in Vegas. Texas, notorious. Even Albuquerque, even when they did some weight in the UFC show out here. I remember when like Sergio Pettis weighed in out here, it was a little strange too as well. Because I remember I was present there for that weight.
And I have to mention GSP missing weight against Nick Diaz. Some bullshit.
Hey, there you go.
I forgot where that fight was. I don't know. It was at Canada?
Yeah, Toronto.
Fuck you guys. What the fuck was that shit? All right. And not because I'm a Diaz fan. I just want to know the truth. The truth.
And honestly, we all know you got to make that championship weight. So Cormier, being the champion, we don't want to see a shit show where, you got Johnny Bones sitting cage side and they're trying to promote and build up their next fight. And you got like a title that's not even going to be on the line technically. But if they wanted to be ruthless about it and really like that Daniel Cormier is correct and he knew that he has that time frame. I mean, usually there's a time allotment for them to reweigh, but nobody's ever seen it go down like the way it happened today. So that's why it caught everybody kind of off guard. And then kind of Daniel had to defend himself. And of course, people are going to take shots at DC any reason they can. So.
Yeah, I mean, look, and the other conspiracy is this towel, right? Now, Georgie shout out to Georgie, Dave Madden, and East Side Rider on the YouTube comment. Dave Madden says, "Hey guys, did you shoot an invite to have DC's towel on the show tonight? I wish I could. I want to ask that motherfucker some questions." But Georgie says, hashtag boobgate is a distraction from the real issues. Hashtag towelgate. Now, if you guys watch the weigh-in, the first time he weighs in, DC stands there, weighs in 1.2 pounds over. Comes back. This time, he has his own towel, right? But then the UFC brings their own towel to cover him because, you don't want to see his stuff on all on the internet and shit. And he has his hands on it, and he's grabbing the towel. Like, it's a weird thing to see, right? But he's grabbing the towel, and he makes 205 flat. So everyone's thinking, it's an old wrestling trick where you just, push on it, the towel just a little bit, make yourself just a little bit lighter. I mean, come on, man. I mean,
hey, no, we're talking weight cutting. I mean, we know about Daniel Cormier nearly killing himself to make like the Olympic team and that. So it's a guy that's very familiar with, making weight. He's been the champion. He's had to make championship weight and again compete at a high level, and he knows that that's part of his job. So a bit of an embarrassing kind of fuck show a little bit. But when has there not been a recent card where we didn't have some type of shenanigans involving the weigh-ins, whether they're the customary weigh-ins or just the fucking the early weigh-ins? So kind of strange. I mean, I didn't really pay attention to the whole weigh-in deal today at all. I'm kind of looking forward to just, like I said, breaking this card down. King of the Cage taking place here in Albuquerque tomorrow. So plenty of MMA action going on. So, but big stakes on the line tomorrow. Love to see this light heavyweight title, a clean change of hands, like I've been saying on previous episodes.
Definitely, really hope there's no controversy during the fight. I mean, look, AJ can finish the fight and DC can finish the fight. So I don't think this fight's going to go 5 rounds. But it's a weird dynamic that we're seeing between DC and AJ right now because Anthony Johnson, last time around, he wasn't really getting that mad in interviews. Now he's getting really annoyed with the shit DC's saying, but he's keeping himself quiet. He's like, all right, bitch, keep on talking. Keep on talking. We're still throwing down in the cage a couple, in 24 hours. Go for it. So let's go ahead and start bringing this card down. First fight of the night, of course, the UFC Fight Pass prelims. As long as I can pull them up. Take place, it started at 6:15 Eastern Time, 3:15 Pacific Time. Obviously, UFCFightPass.com. First fight of the night, Janelle Lausa, the Demolition Man, out of the Philippines, taking on Magomed Bibulatov out of Russia, 13-0. And you were talking about Bibulatov being the supposed Demetrius killer. What do you know about him?
Yeah, I actually seen him when he competed in the World Series of Fighting. I think I forgot who he fought or what organization he fought previous to entering the UFC, but I knew eventually this guy would get a call up. He's got a lot of hype behind him. He's one of those guys, the Mavs, the Govs, the Tovs. Jesse and I are always rooting for them cats. And this guy is sort of like, yeah, man, what's the cat that we were talking about him earlier, fought Demetrius. He was supposed to be the Demetrius killer, the previous flyweight contender. Yeah, this guy is basically the Ali Bagatinov that's yet to do anything in a UFC cage, but Russian tough cat here, 28-year-old guy, undefeated at 13-0, taking on Janelle Lausa, and I think Lausa's on like a 5-fight winning streak himself. So big time heavy favorite on the side of Bibulatov, and this is a great matchup to start out the fight. I think Janelle Lausa has a great skill set to really present some problems for Bibulatov, but I think he's got a lot of submissions on his record as well too, Bibulatov. So he's capable of, he's got some great technique on the feet, really great skill set that all blends nicely. But I mean, this guy is very, very tough. I think Lausa has his hands full definitely in this bout. The odds makers have the it's a heavy favorite on the side of Bibulatov, -450. But both guys 28 years old. Fantastic fight match, or the styles, it makes for a great matchup here, and I think Lausa could make it interesting. But overall, I do see Bibulatov being very impressive, possibly getting an early finish. So I got to go with you know me, Eddie. I go with the Mavs, the Govs, the Stovs.
Of course, Tav.
We had a Tav here, but no knocking off.
It's like a cheat sheet for you, man.
Well, if Jesse was here, I know Jesse would side with me, man. And then, like I said, Janelle Lausa, though, great skill set, great Muay Thai guy. I think he's from the Philippines or so he's trained with some pretty high level people down there, and I think he'll present some problems. But Magomed, very, very tough guy, and I think he'll be creeping on the known tough bastard list soon enough. A couple fights.
All right, he'll need a couple fights. I mean, obviously, he's making his UFC debut here. Lausa has one fight on his in the UFC, one decision against I forgot his first name, and I wouldn't be able to say I know it starts with a Z, but his last name's like Yao or something like that. But
Zuki Yao.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. And one decision, right? But it's still, first fight in the UFC, it's always a tough one. Now, but the thing about those Russians, man, is they come in, they're always stone faced, ready to fucking go. They don't know what jitters are for the most part. So while I don't know about a finish, I do think that the Russians should be able to pretty much dominate this dude on the ground, no problem. I think they'll be on the on the feet for just a little, like a very short while. We'll be looking at a takedown and ground and pound. That's throughout the fight, I think. So I'm with you when I'm taking the Russian cat.
He's got tons of like submission arm locks, ground game, deadly on the side of Magomed. So I think it's going to be, like I said, the skill set on both fighters makes for a fantastic fight to actually start this card out. So, and Lausa being the guy with the more experience as far as UFC cage experience, but this will be a coming out party for Gladiator Magomed Bibulatov, in my opinion.
No, I agree. All right, moving on to the next fight. The ladies are in. Bantamweight ladies, Caitlin Chukagian, the blonde fighter out of the U.S., I believe South Dakota, one of the Dakotas I think she's from, against Irene Aldana out of Mexico, my hometown of Guadalajara. Of course, both ladies are coming off tough losses. Chukagian just lost to was it Sarah McMahon?
Yeah, it was her first loss of her MMA career.
Split
it was against Liz Carmouche.
Sorry, Liz Carmouche. Still super tough fight, but it was a split decision loss. You got to give her credit for hanging in there against, somebody that went in there against Rousey and almost put Rousey away. You know what I mean? So she's got that on her side. And then Aldana's coming off a loss to Leslie Smith, which I believe was also a decision loss at the Watterson Benzant fight or event. She's got hands. Both got hands. I like Chukagian's ground game a little bit better though, right? And so it's we're definitely looking at a good fight here. If it stays on the feet, I think Aldana's going to pick her apart. I think Chukagian's going to be looking to cause some damage on the feet, score some points, and then get this fight to the ground and see if Aldana has a jiu-jitsu game. Who are you picking?
It's really a close fight to call here. I mean, I think the style of Caitlin Chukagian, I mean, she's really like not a power like striker.
Right.
She does have some great strikes, kicking game on point. Aldana's got probably the better defensive skill set. I think Chukagian is going to be there to be hit. Aldana's she seems to have a style where she can get kind of reckless and get in there and get in distance and try to, land her shots. But Chukagian, though, I haven't seen too much, like I said, about her power striking, and she's going to need some power to hurt Aldana. She was in a tough matchup in her last fight, and she stayed in there, a very tough decision. So Chukagian, though, with the Liz Carmouche belt, like you said, Eddie, that's a name. Liz fought Rousey, nearly had Rousey choked out. So if you remember back, that was an impressive performance, and Liz is very tough. So Aldana, though, I think the fight with Leslie Smith, I think that was like her best performance of her career, and in my opinion, like as far as I've seen her career go. But both these ladies, 28 years old, Chukagian, Aldana's 29, so they're in their prime. They're forever evolving. I just think that it's so close to call that I picked Chukagian to beat Liz Carmouche. I'm going to go ahead and pick her here to win this fight, more than likely by decision, because I think she'll probably be more dynamic and have a better output. And I think her striking game is just slightly better. But Aldana, I think she has a pretty nasty ground game. So if she can get it to the ground, I think her chances are good to win the fight and make it really a dogfight and competitive. So the odds do have Aldana as an underdog at plus 135.
So close.
Chukagian minus 155, but it's very close for me. It's like a 49-51 picker fight here. Like I said, I picked Chukagian before, very close against Liz. I think this will be a similar fight where Chukagian's just the more active fighter and then puts in a lot more strikes in the striking department. I think she wins it via there and cardio as well.
Yeah, I'm not going against my people, man. Aldana, all day. Decision win, but all day. No, for real though. To be honest, I think she's gonna be able to keep us on the feet. I don't think she wants to see any kind of ground game. Although Aldana's ground game is always evolving. You know what I mean? But you could tell she definitely prefers to be on the feet, right? So I think Aldana's gonna take it by decision. And that's being honest. I'm just being a homer. Like, oh, she's from my town, her town, whatever. But I'm serious.
Yeah,
I think she'll keep it up.
Yeah, both fighters, like I said, their defensive skills are a little shaky. So I think who's going to be better as far as defense will win the fight, as it does go to a decision. And I think Chukagian's output will win her the fight. And honestly, she'll probably land more shots, not power strikes. I think the power advantage probably you can give the slight edge to Aldana, but close competitive bout here. Yeah, I think Chukagian does take that though.
All right, moving on to the next fight here. It's a lightweight bout between Josh Emmett and Desmond the Predator Green. Desmond Green, if you never heard of, I'm surprised when people say they haven't heard of this dude, because Desmond Green has fought in Titan FC, he's fought in Bellator, he's fought basically everywhere but the UFC. Finally gets his chance in the UFC, taking on Josh Emmett, who is 2-0. He's 10-0. He's undefeated, right? But he's 2-0 in the UFC. I believe he wins over Jon Tuck, and who's the other guy he beat?
Josh Emmett.
Josh Emmett beat Scott Holtzman. There we go.
His last win. Yeah, it was a tough that was a fast fight. That fight was like fire. That was nonstop, like 100 miles an hour. I remember that fight.
Yeah. And it was a decision. It was a good fucking fight. So I got to start off here with Dave Mann saying Josh Emmett is going to pluck every one of Green's dreads from his head. Who are you picking?
Yeah, Josh Emmett, man, he's a tough motherfucker. I mean, we all know about that compound fracture he had of his finger. I think it was in the Tuck fight, right, is when that happened. So, I mean, man, that guy's tough as hell to actually, pull through with that type of injury in a fight. I mean, man, I think a lot of people up in NorCal, and especially Dave Madden, like he's mentioning, they know Josh Emmett's for real. He's a real deal. He's a very tough cat, and I think Des Green has his hands full, absolutely. Another thing interesting noting about Des Green, he actually he fought a guy, Des Hill, who I'll be watching live tomorrow, compete for the King of the Cage welterweight title. So I'll be there live, and that's a fight. I think it was 2 fights ago. He fought him to a decision. So, and like you said, Des Green's been all around, Titan, Bellator. I even think as far back as I remember, I think Des Green fought Rob Font at 155 and his debut MMA fight, his pro fight. So
no kidding.
That he's been around, but now that he's on the stage in New York, I think he's like from Rochester, New York. So he'll have a good home base there and a lot of people to try to impress. You know what I mean? That sometimes can work against you. But I honestly, Josh Emmett, man, guy's very fucking tough. And in this division, loaded with killers, I think Josh Emmett could be a guy that rises up low key, and a Team Alpha Male guy as well. I just think that I got tremendous upside on the side of Emmett, but Des Green could probably, the Rochester, the New York thing. could show up big, and you know what I mean. And a win over Josh Emmett would have some great shine to it. But in the end of the day, I do have Josh Emmett winning the bout, and I think at some point you'll probably get Des Green to the mat, lots of ground and pound, maybe a submission happens second round, Josh Emmett for sure.
Yeah, based off the Holtzman fight, I like Emmett. I really do. Again, I've seen playing Desmond Green, and Desmond Green clearly has the experience advantage, right? But you know, it's taken him this long to get to the UFC. There's got to be a reason for it, and it is because Desmond Green isn't. I don't know. To me, he's always been shaky. You know what I mean? Like I've never been able to say, "Oh, Desmond Green's gonna win this fight for sure." It's always like, maybe he'll pull it off. Fuck, I don't know. So I like Josh Emmett based on the fact that he's had 2 UFC bouts already, and he won both of them. So hopefully, hopefully we get a fire fight between these two because that would be sick shit. All right.
Yeah,
moving on here to the next.
Let's say just before we close that bout, the odds do favor Josh Emmett to -225, the moderate favorite, and Des Green +185 as the underdog. Keep in mind, Josh Emmett 11-0, looking to stay unbeaten, and yeah, Des Green, if he does get a win, that'll be a tremendous victory on his hand as a debut. So tough fucking fight for him, though, man.
Definitely. Look, the Fight Pass fights, like in recent memory, have actually been pretty damn good. And this is another one that looks like it's set up to be a good fight. So moving on here to the feature bout. It's Gregor Gillespie, whatever. The gift. First of all, he calls himself the gift. Like, look, Gregor, I give you credit, man. You cut that awful thing you call the haircut. Finally, it's clean. It looks better. Cool. You don't have a fucking mullet anymore. But the gift, come on, son. Come on. Like, I don't know you that well, like at all, really. I don't really know you, but I've seen you fight. Not the gift. Chill out. Anyway,
there's some shitty fighter nicknames on this card.
There's a lot of shitty fighter nicknames all over the place. But god damn it, dude! Like, it's like he farts and he smells his own farts, thinking it smells great, motherfucker. Anyway, all right. Taking on Andrew Holbrook. Andrew Holbrook, formerly, okay, of course, he's a bad motherfucker. Now that I think about it, he's a good ground specialist. Isn't he, Holbrook? He's fucking tough as shit on the ground. He's good. He's not bad on the feet. He's got a pretty decent stand up. He's getting better in the last few fights, but I think he's 2-1 in the UFC. Let me pull up the fucking stats so I'm not talking completely out of my ass. Yeah, he had a split decision win over Ramsey Nijim back in 2015, and just last November, the win over Jake Matthews, where I believe Holbrook was the underdog.
Big underdog. That's I picked him to win that fight as well too.
Yeah. So it's a good fucking fight. How do you see it going?
Honestly, what I've seen, like from the weigh-ins and knowing Gregor Gillespie being like the dominant wrestler that he is in his wrestling background, he's going to try to get Andrew Holbrook to the ground, and I think that was the plan that Jake Matthews had going into that fight. Yeah. Andrew Holbrook was in a couple vulnerable positions where he possibly he was getting lit up a little bit, but then again, Jake Matthews is a very tough kid, young stud too as well. I believe he got hurt in that fight too. I think that's where he injured his knee. But then again, Holbrook, man, 11-1 record. He lost to a TKO to Joaquin Silva, and that was like I don't know what the fuck you want to call that, because I mean that guy, I don't even think he's even in the UFC anymore, right? Joaquin Silva.
No, I don't think he is either.
So I mean, Andrew Holbrook, besides that, has been unbeaten, and the guy's capable of winning the fight on the feet, on the ground, mainly on the ground. But see, so it might play right into Gregor Gillespie's style, might play right into what Holbrook wants to do. There's a big size advantage on the side of Holbrook. I think Gillespie's just not the biggest guy at 155. Holbrook, definitely, if you've seen the weigh-ins and you know the guy is pretty fucking huge at 155. So
he seems like he cuts a lot of weight. Since we were talking about weight cut, he seems like he cuts a pretty decent amount.
And then also numbers into this fight. I mean, Andrew Holbrook right now currently sits at number 55 world at 155, as Gregor Gillespie is way the fuck out there at 115, 120s, I believe. But Long Island MMA, he's a New York cat himself, so he's one of those guys that they have him, Des Green, a couple other cats on here, the New York affiliation.
What are the odds on this one?
They do have Gregor Gillespie as the favorite, -225.
No kidding.
So if there's people betting and people that are all about that stuff and shows that are geared towards betting, this is not the show. But then again, like I said, this is a fight where Gregor Gillespie in his backyard in New York, he wants to showcase a nice win. You got to take out Andrew Holbrook, and it's going to be tough for him, man. I think if he is the favorite, I guess, man, I got to go with Andrew Holbrook. The guy was a huge underdog against Jake Matthews, who was a rising stud. He took that fight handily too, and I mean, what it really comes down to is the way Gregor Gillespie approaches the first round. he tries to storm at him and try to take him down and try to do that, cardio could come into play. I think he's got excellent cardio. I think he's just a tenacious fighter, just fucking nonstop. So I think if Andrew Holbrook can, show the cardio that he did against Jake Matthews, and he's able to, stay away from dangerous spots on the ground, I think he'll be able to edge him here. And probably a tight fight, probably a decision. Andrew Holbrook's just not easy to finish. The gift, Gregor Gillespie, also unbeaten, 8-0.
Stop saying his fucking nickname, dude. No. God damn it. We don't need to fucking egg him on.
So it's so what it comes down to is Gregor Gillespie, is he going to show up in New York and really show up against the top contender, rising guy in Holbrook, where only a lot of hardcore fans are familiar with this Holbrook cat. So, but he's continuing, like I said, 12-1, 8-0. I think there's a lot on the line for both guys, given wherever their rankings are, but more or less on the side of Holbrook, as he's number 55, trying to rise the rankings. But yeah, he's the underdog, plus 195. So I got Andrew Holbrook winning the fight by decision.
Put your bets. Yeah. Put your bets. Look, if I'm betting Holbrook. I like, just like you said, his cardio, and he's got that grit. He's like, all right, you want to fucking doubt me? All right, bitch, doubt me. Go ahead. You know what he's saying to all those people saying, oh, New York, Gillespie, New York. He's going to be like, you guys can shove all that New York shit right up your ass and fucking getting this win and getting the fuck out of New York. So I like Holbrook as well. And I don't think it's going to be close. I think he's going to come in, feel the waters out in the first round. I think in the second round, we're going to see Holbrook try to make a statement, because that's what he needs to do. As much as Gregor needs to do that, I think Holbrook needs that, or Holbrook could use that a little bit more than he could. So that's where we're going to be at. So those are your UFC Fight Pass early prelims. Again, 6:15 p.m. Eastern time. Yeah, which means just take 3 hours off and you get the West Coast. It's 3:15 p.m. Pacific time for those Fight Pass prelims. Moving on to the FS1 prelims, obviously on FS1, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time. Kicked off by a guy that apparently nobody wanted to fight back in the day, and now he's coming into this fight, I believe, on a 2-fight losing streak. We got Patrick Cummins against Jan Blachowicz, who's a guy that nobody ever paid attention to. So we're hoping that, I'm sure people will be watching this fight, but it's not going to be a big fight like everyone, these two guys hope it is. But obviously Patrick Cummins 8-4, Blachowicz is 19-6. You can already tell the experience difference there with that fight. Now Patrick Cummins is coming. He's 0-2 in his last, 0-2 last two, but losses to Glover Teixeira, who's a legit fight, and Lil Nog, who's a legit fighter. Like, you can't knock those losses. They weren't against, throwaways. But now he's getting another killer in Blachowicz. And Blachowicz, I like everything about him. He's a tough motherfucker. He's also a guy that everyone underestimates, and he comes in and wins fights. So I'll go first here. I'm picking Blachowicz in this fight, and I think it's going to be a finish. And I don't think we see Patrick Cummins in the UFC ever again. And these guys like World Series of Fighting or Bellator bound after this shit. What are you picking?
Yeah, I can easily see that happening. I was about to mention it. I was to say, is this a last fight for Patrick Cummins? Say he does get finished, or if he loses the fight in any fashion. But adding to it, like I mentioned, the shitty nicknames. Patrick Durkin Cummings has got to be one of the shittiest fucking fighter nicknames of them all.
I honestly wish you would explain that. Just before I tell him to shut up, just explain it. Like, it's Durkin because no, dude, stop. Just fucking get right to the definition. But it's gonna be so stupid.
Yeah, and then honestly, like a lot of the hardcores that do pay attention to Patrick Cummins, I've noted that, back in the day, this guy actually fought fucking Daniel Cormier on like 2 days notice or whatever it was, 3 days notice, got his ass beat. He was claiming that he made Daniel Cormier cry in practice and trying to stir up the pot with that. So remember, that was a pretty hilarious booking, but Cormier ended up beating the fucking piss out of him. But on the side of Jan Blachowicz, this guy, he fought Gus last. He started tagging Gus up so bad that Gus had to take him down. So, I was kind of worried about ending for Gus in that fight, honestly, because I thought he was in some serious trouble. But in this fight here, it's number 18 Cummins against number 19 Blachowicz. So it's good matchmaking where they are. Blachowicz, I'm definitely picking Blachowicz to win the fight. Although Patrick Cummins has that knockout power, he could tag Blachowicz up. But I think Jan is a bit tougher. I think he probably wants this one more, I think, because Blachowicz is kind of like, I don't know, he's a low-key guy that'll just show up. He's a guy I don't want to pick against. In the Gus fight, obviously I did pick Gus because it's Gus, but he was impressive in there, you know what I mean? So if he was able to stop some takedowns, he probably would have won that fight at some point, you know what I'm saying? So 34 years old on the side of Jan Blachowicz, Patrick Cummins, 36. So his window is closing up, you know what I mean? If he doesn't seal up a win here, I agree with you, Eddie. Bellator, World Series of Fighting, Titan.
Cummins?
Starbucks. Yeah, so
Cummins' window is closed. Consider it shut.
Yeah,
Shit.
well, yeah, true that. Because I mean, the fight odds here though, it's near even. It's very close. So I think I'm gonna have to go to the side of Jan Blachowicz. I think he stun guns him in the second round. Patrick Cummins probably never to be seen again, vanishing off into the mist.
Oh, yeah, I don't think we see Patrick Cummins after this one again. I don't ever, unless he comes out with like an impressive win. That's just what I think. So yeah. All right, moving on to the next fight here. Shane Burgos, a hurricane against Charles Boston Strong Rosa. I can't knock the nicknames on this one, but the Boston Strong thing, I get it, but you know, it's kind of pandery. But whatever. Fuck it. All right. So what do you think about this fight? Who are you picking?
Where the numbers go in this one, starting with Charles Rosa, ranked number 78 in the weight class, featherweight, 59 on the side of Shane Burgos, so somewhat close in the ranking department as far as the fight booking, but slight underdog, Charles Rosa. We all remember Charles Rosa when he fought Yair Rodriguez, sort of made it interesting in the early, like a round and a half, but in the end, Yair ended up, overwhelming the cat, but pretty fucking tough cat, man. Charles Rosa, I mean, I want to pick him in this fight, man, but I think Shane Burgos, I mean, isn't he like a Tiger Shulman guy, like up there in New York, trains with Jimmy Rivera?
He's a scary motherfucker, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I do like their style a whole lot. I like what they do. I like those type of fighters, how they blend all their strikes in with the defense, throwing in some kicks. They just mix things up very well. A lot of those Tiger Shulman guys are very successful, and I think Charles Rosa, if he's still affiliated with the American Top Team, he's got his buddy, Anthony Johnson or so on the card, and he's got some Florida-based fighters too on the card as well. But I think this fight here is kind of geared towards Shane Burgos, and I think Charles Rosa is going to be tough in there. He just won't do enough. He won't have enough in it. I think Burgos overtakes him, and probably a decision because Rosa's so fucking tough, and he's called Boston Strong for a reason. Only 11-2, you know what I mean? These guys only suffered 2 setbacks, so and I think they were decisions, right? He's only lost by decision before. So I think he loses this fight in a decision because I think Dennis Seaver handed him a loss, and then Yair Rodriguez. So yeah, those are his 2 losses in his career. Shane Burgos, man, showing up and going to be a bit more, noticed now. Shane Burgos in a nice performance here over a tough Charles Rosa for sure.
Look, I never pick against Charles Rosa. Something about that dude. He's just a tough motherfucker, man. Just when you think he's done, when you think he's like not gonna, there's no way he can pull off his fight, he just gets the fuck up and starts going again. So I like Charles Rosa in a very, very tough decision win. I mean, very tough. We're talking like barely makes it, maybe a split, like the most split decision you've ever seen in your life, because Burgos is a scary cat.
And see, the last time we've seen Burgos fight, I think it was on the prelims. There was one of the first few fights of the night on the Derek Lewis, Shamil Abdurrahimov card, the shit show, the other New York card. So he's fighting again in New York. So it'd be his second fight in New York, or the state of New York.
Oh yeah. Oh, he was at what the not the Buffalo. This is Buffalo. The Brooklyn card.
No, it was the Albany card.
Oh, that's right. Did an Albany card.
See, it's so bad that people forgot about that card, Eddie. That's how bad it was. So
everyone forgot about that card. And I bet you totally forgot. I'm not anti-New York, but I couldn't give less of a shit. I'm just saying.
Nobody remembers Ngannou nearly killed Anthony Hamilton on that card either. So
that was a scary fucking thing to watch. Remember that shit? We're like, oh my god, that dude's gonna die. Jesus. Anyway, yeah. All right. Moving on to the next fight, a fight with the I'm not gonna lie to you folks. To me, it has the potential of being boring as shit just because Kamaru Usman is involved. Okay, I can't stand that dude. All right, whatever. So Kamaru Usman, number 11 ranked welterweight, the Nigerian Nightmare taking on Sean Tarzan Strickland. It should be a somewhat even match. I know Sean Strickland's not ranked, but what are the odds on this one before we get started?
Odds on this one, they do have Sean Strickland at plus 265, the underdog, minus 325 favorite for Kamaru Usman. Yeah,
what does that tell you? Kamaru Usman's going to make this an ugly, grind-out fight. And he's going to win this fight in that fashion. He's not knocking anybody out. He's going to just get him, take him down, gas him out, and then beat him down and probably win this fight. So, yeah, if you miss this fight, it is what it is. But what do you think about Mr. Strickland here? Like, how do you have him possibly? I mean, first of all, how would you think he would win, and who are you picking?
Well, he's a man. I would have loved to have seen him fight against Tim Means. I think they had a bout slated, and then he pulled out or so. I forgot who actually pulled out. It was Tim, but that had the makings of being a real fucking test for Sean Strickland. And he had some killer wins in his career. I mean, he's got the wins over Igor Araujo. That guy's tougher than shit. Alex Garcia, Tom Breeze. And those are his 3 wins going into this fight with Usman. And Usman, man, I mean, he keeps continuing to try to, call his shot. I mean, I know he called out like Damian Maia, and he thinks he could probably eventually, get up there and be in like those high-profile fights in this division. So, and it does start with a win over Sean Strickland. And I have to agree with the odds here. I think Kamaru Usman, I forgot who was talking about his style and that. It was basically to the T. It's the fact that the guy approaches every fight based on like as long as he's comfortable in there, knowing that he's not going to get knocked out. That's when he goes about implementing his wrestling and just continuous, relentless takedowns, putting in work on the ground. So I see him at some point doing that, but I'm not going to knock Sean Strickland in the power department because I think he has the power to knock out Usman if he gets cued in there. And I think Usman is going to be just his style it's not a likable style, but man, is the guy effective at doing it, and he's continuing to do it. I mean, against Sean Strickland, it'll be the biggest win of his career, and it will he'll be able to call his shot and maybe get up in possibly a he's already in the top 20, but he gets in maybe the top 15 with the win over Strickland, because Strickland is number 37 currently in this weight class, and he's 26 years old. Kamaru Usman is basically in his prime, 29 years old, looking to make his mark. A Florida-based guy, like I said, Black Zillion guy, trains with Anthony Johnson too as well. So I think this fight here, man, I got to go with Usman, and I got to go with Usman by a fucking decision. I don't know, maybe if he hurts him enough and he's able to choke him out, that'll be a lot of shine to that win. I hope that it does, because Kamaru Usman, say he does that, he can really call for a big name after that. And then Strickland, though, only the one setback in his career, so will not be easy. But I do got to go in the favor with the odds and what everybody else is saying. So Kamaru Usman decision, tough though. It won't be a boring decision that we all seen Kamaru Usman in these fights that he's had before. I think it'll be competitive, where Usman just edges him slightly though.
Yeah, Usman's gonna make this an ugly fight, and that's what he wants. That's how he wins fights. That's just what it is. But with the Black Zillions, actually, I didn't even know he's still with the Black Zillions. He might be with. I wonder if he went off with Rumble and Hoof, Henry Hoof.
Yeah, he's Combat Club. Yeah, I think I've seen him in the gym quite a bit in the background and that doing his thing. So
good, because he needs to work on his fucking hands. Keep the fight on the feet for a little bit, man. Make it fun.
Yeah, that's why I forgot who it was that broke it down as like that, because all his fights are very similar, where if he knows he's not going to get knocked out, he's coming right at you to put you on your back. So
yeah.
Yep.
All right, moving on to the main the feature prelim on FS1. We got Miles Jury, we got Mike De La Torre. It's Fury against the lighter El Cucuy, the featherweight El Cucuy. We seen Mike De La Torre before. He's very tough guy to finish, right? Well, excuse me. I had Chipotle before this shit. All right, so I'm burping up now like a storm of like guac and salsa. All right, if you haven't had Chipotle today, go get some. It's delicious. Just don't do it too late. Anyway, Miles Jury, man, I like his striking. Like, I like look. This should be a fucking. You can almost see a brawl come out of this one, right? I mean, because I like Miles Jury. He if you tag him a couple of times, he gets pissed off and comes at your ass. And Mike De La Torre's got the Latino blood in him. He's gonna come at you no matter what you do. I'm expecting a brawl, and I'm expecting a knockout. I would love to predict a double knockout, because I would just love to see that on UFC national television. It'd be the best. But no, I think Miles Jury's got this one, man. I think the dude's gonna, he's not gonna be a clinic. I think he's gonna be a war back and forth. I think he takes up the decision fight on this one, and we get a fight of the night potential out of this one. Who are you picking?
Man, wouldn't that be something if we actually do see a double knockout on any UFC card soon, even if it is this one tomorrow? But yeah, man, Miles Jury, very familiar with this guy. This guy has fought some very, very tough competition. The elite guys at 155. Let's start naming them right now. Michael Johnson, Mike Ricci, Diego Sanchez, Takanori Gomi. He lost to Donald Cerrone, got choked out by Charles.
He didn't fight. Sorry, he didn't fight Nate. I don't know why I thought he fought Nate.
Because his Diego fight, I remember he predicted his win over Diego, and he said he's going to make it look easy. And that's when I kind of took notice to Miles Jury as somebody who could be a potential, title contender, or in the upper echelon, top 10 type of guys. But he's facing his third loss in a row, possibly, if he gets snuffed here by the 45-pound Kukui, but I don't see that happening, man. I think Miles Jury, like you said, he doesn't like when he gets hit. He seems to kind of, run straight at his opponent and look to, ignite a brawl. And I think he'll have the edge in that here, where he just got to be cool and calculated. I think he has all the tools to really just steamroll Mike De La Torre. And I think his loss to Charles Oliveira, where he got choked out, he definitely wants to rebound for that, because we haven't seen him in quite some time. It's been a while since we've seen Miles Fury Jury, and I think he's had some injuries that set him out. But he's coming back off a pretty long layoff. But if you read the names off of this guy that he's fought, man, so much experience on the side of Miles Jury and Mike De La Torre, man. I mean, he's a Glendale, Arizona, Team Hurricane. Awesome. Is that his team, right? Or something like that, Eddie?
Yeah.
So, yeah, 30-year-old guy, Miles Jury, even though the experience of everybody he's fought, he's a pretty young, 28 years old. He hasn't taken a lot of beatings in his career. So I think he's still got some room to rise up. And I think it starts with him snuffing Mike De La Torre pretty badly. And I do got Jury probably in like a second round finish TKO.
Yeah, I don't like Miles Jury in decision, but it'd be crazy if we got a TKO on that one. All right, so that's your FS1 prelim, feature prelim. Did you get the odds on that?
Heavy favorite. Yeah, heavy favorite, Miles Jury, -400.
God damn. Although
I'm not picking him based on the odds. I'm picking him based on, like I said, he's fought like 5 known tough bastards.
Dude,
in his career,
I would throw like $20 on Mike De La Torre on that one, just to see what happens. Because if we get lucky and gets a knockout, you can make some decent, you can get some beer money out of that.
Because he's been subbed before. I don't know if he's ever been knocked out. I think he's been like maybe knocked out once, but he's been subbed a couple times. So I think Fury's got the ability to sub him and TKO him. So I think one of those opportunities presents itself, and Jury gets back in the win column. Absolutely.
Man, you make me want to change my pick to Mike De La Torre. You're talking up Miles Jury like he's a world beater. He's not. I'm just kidding. We'll see. We'll see, man. We'll see. All right. That's your what?
He's a gict. He's not quite a gicta. He's a gict. He's a gicta if he loses this fight.
Yeah, well, we'll see. All right. That's your feature prelim on FS1, 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific time on FS1. All right, moving on to the pay-per-view card, which, if you look at the names, is stacked. People have been making the argument that this card sucks. I don't buy that, but I also wouldn't pay full price for it, if that makes any sense. I mean, I don't know. We'll go through the fights. All right, first fight of the night is a lightweight bout between Will Brooks, not ranked, and number 9 ranked Charles Oliveira, who, by the way, came in at 152. 152 pounds. What was up with that scale? I don't buy that shit. All right, Charles Oliveira's awful at weight cutting. Okay, he's a fat boy. This is what happens. All right. Anyway, other than that, look, Will Brooks is a grinder. He's a grinder. He's ready to take your ass down and try to fuck your face up while you're on your back on the ground. Charles Oliveira, good on jiu-jitsu. He has super slick jiu-jitsu. He has decent hands. I'm leaning towards Brooks on this one. Based on the toughness and all that, but I mean, it's Charles Oliveira's jiu-jitsu is legit. You can't overlook that. So this fight ends up on the ground. I would not be surprised to see Oliveira pull some crazy shit. But I'm going with Brooks' decision on this one. Who are you picking?
Well, this fight was actually supposed to be Will Brooks versus Anthony Pettis, but Anthony Pettis, I guess, couldn't, not enough time for him to come back, and it would be a fucking dangerous fight for him too. He'd be going off, maybe 4 losses in a row at that point, because I would probably pick Will to beat him, as I will pick Will to beat the shit out of Charles Oliveira as well. Because if Will Brooks loses this fight, he loses his shot at possibly, getting up, in the conversations of the top 10 guys, as he sits just outside the top 10. He's number 12. I know Cowboy Oliveira with that cheap job, one of his only losses besides like Sadawad, when Will Brooks lost here in Albuquerque many years ago, where I was live in the venue of his first professional loss. So, but the cheap job against Cowboy, that's an unfortunate setback from him. I know he popped a rib. He was hurt, but he comes back here and totally train wrecks Charles Oliveira. Possibly chokes him out on the ground, but if he doesn't finish him, he's just going to pound him on the ground. And I think Will's just way too smart, way too skilled on the ground to get subbed and end up in a bad position where Oliveira can, maybe sub him, but he's really going to have to put in some work. And Oliveira seems to be, he's fearless when he fights. I mean, he throws fucks out the window all the time. If he gets careless against Will make him pay hard. And I think you think if Oliveira wins, he'll call out McGregor again? Nah, well, he can call out could call out somebody in Bellator after he gets stuffed here. And it's kind of, 27 years old, though, Charles Oliveira. He's a lot younger than you think. So it's really, I mean, the favorite on the side, of course, is going to be Will Brooks, minus 255. But like I said, Will Brooks doesn't just get beat just by any. I mean, I'm not saying Charles Oliveira is just like an easy opponent. It's sort of a tailor-made fight for Will Brooks to win. It absolutely is.
It takes a lot to beat a Will Brooks. I mean, people don't give him a lot of credit because they didn't watch him a lot when he was in Bellator. But it takes a lot to beat Will Brooks. Like, you need to be on your shit. And I don't know if Charles Oliveira has ever been on his shit. If you can even understand what that means. But like, I don't think we've ever seen a Charles Oliveira that's super focused. I mean, if he comes in like that tomorrow night, completely, and he wins it, all the props in the world. But to beat a Will Brooks who's super dedicated, super focused at all times. I mean, this guy's stone-faced all the time. You rarely see this motherfucker smile. You know what I mean? Like, rarely. He's so focused on what he's going to do that he knows what you're gonna do before you do it. So I'm with you, man. It's harder to see Oliveira pulling this one off.
Yeah, and I honestly think that Charles Oliveira could stick around and maybe fight another fight in the UFC. I don't know actually how many fights he has in his contract left, but he could be a guy that Bellator could snatch up. They would be happy to have him on their roster. But 2 losses in a row. Will, coming off the loss, is only his second loss in his pro career. So I see him bouncing back in a big way and cracking into that top 10 because he's number 12 in the world. Oliveira, surprisingly, number 16 currently. So, no knock to him, man. He's a tough cat. He's fought plenty of known tough bastards. Will Brooks wants to make that jump to jump up to 55 to the top guys, and it starts with him train wrecking Oliveira. And I see him. I'm going to call a 3rd round submission, Will Brooks over Charles Oliveira.
Damn, submitting the submission specialist, dude. I would love to see that. I really would. All right, moving on. This fight has all the signs of fire on it, and we're hoping it works out, okay? The return of Pitbull, Thiago Alves coming back against Patrick Cote, the Predator. This is Brazil against Canada. 26-12 for Pitbull, 24-10 for Cote. These are, in my opinion, very even match. This is a great fucking booking. I mean, great. You can expect. I'm expecting a fucking sick fight in this one. Sucks that I'm gonna miss it, but still, I'm expecting a sick fire fight in this one. Everything's identical physically. I mean, it's just to me, it's shit. I bet. That's how I got excited again. I knocked over my fucking microphone. I expect to see. Well, I'm interested in, and you tell me what you think. I'm more interested in what Pitbull brings back because he's been gone for a minute. He hasn't fought in a while, and not only that, he hasn't fought well in a while. You know what I mean? So it's going to be very hard for me to make a pick on this one or to pick him on this one based on that. I think Cote's coming, he's coming in, focused, ready to go, and I think he's been way more active than Alves. So I like Cote in this one, man. I don't think it's gonna be a finish either. Well, I take it back. I think someone's gonna get finished here, and I'm hoping someone's gonna get finished here. And I think Cote's gonna be the one to do it. Couldn't tell you when or how, but I think it's gonna be a finish on Cote's part by TKO. Who you got?
I mean, like you said, a lot of similarities as far as like the reach advantage, the way even the fights that they fought, even their everything combined is pretty similar as far as experience. Patrick Cote, we know that he got snuffed by Donald. And that was like a thing where people were saying, oh, this is actually a bigger guy. Donald beat him. Donald's going to be a force. But I mean, we've seen what happened to Donald against Jorge Masvidal. So Patrick Cote previously a 185er though. So he's got, definite size advantage on Thiago. I think Thiago still cuts his good amount of weight to make 170. Last time we seen Thiago Alves was against Jim Miller. You might have forgot it was on UFC 205. He lost a decision, but it's not the same Thiago. He hasn't been the same since Carlos smashed his nose into his fucking head and might have killed him if he would have hit him one more time. Yeah. So I think it's been a little while since we've seen Alves in there, but like I said, another Florida-based guy, friends with that Rumble Johnson, Black Zillion type guy, American Top Team, whatever. They're all homies in one way or another. Whether or not they have the Ultimate Fighter show that they're against each other, they're all fucking training partners. So Thiago Alves here, he's got to win this fight. I mean, he's like one of those guys, Eddie, where he's a name that could drift away off the Bellator as well. Likewise in the side of Cote, but Cote's only got the 1 loss. Thiago's got 2 losses. So I think in a 3rd loss, it could be his. He could be on the chopping block. But Patrick Cote, I'm gonna pick him based on he's got more power and he's a bigger guy. Alves, he's a shell of himself, man. I mean, he's still very young. The guy's still like 33 years old. Cote's an older guy, 37 years old. It wouldn't shock me to see Thiago go in there and look impressive and probably dominate a decision. But I think Cote just probably, you know what I mean, they engage and they start throwing heat. And I think Cote is going to land some shots and hurt Alves and possibly by maybe a TKO. But I'm going to go ahead and make a safe pick on a Cote decision in a competitive fight where Thiago actually looks better than he did against Jim Miller, because that Jim Miller fight was sort of you might fall a fucking asleep if you're going to rewatch that fight. So
that was sad. I hated watching that fight. All right, moving on.
Like you said, also like you said, the fight's so close. So yeah, the odds do reflect that. Thiago's the underdog, plus 135. Cote minus 160, the slight favorite. So very close.
No, for sure. All right, moving on. The strawweights make their appearance. First of all, it's a strawweight making her UFC debut on a pay-per-view card. Now, WME starting to make it, make a habit of these a little bit. Maybe they're thinking, oh, two beautiful, good-looking girls in there fighting. Why not, right? But I think this is like, I think that's what they thought when they booked this one. But I think they might have accidentally struck fire on this one. This is a good fight, I think. So we got Cynthia Calvillo taking on Pearl Gonzalez. Again, this is the fight that almost didn't happen because NYSAC wanted to fucking pull Pearl because she has implants. New York hates boobs. Tell your friends. New York hates boobs. Yep. Seriously, just let that sink in for a second. The state of New York hates boobs. Okay, now let that one go and put it on Twitter and then let it spread like wildfire. But fight-wise, Gonzalez, I believe, has like the advantage on experience. I think she has like, did she have like double-digit fights to Cynthia's 4?
Yeah, she's 6-1. She lost her pro debut and hasn't lost since. Yeah.
Now, where did she fight before this?
Previously it was was it XFC or hold on, it's XFC, and then HFC was the organization that she fought in her last bout. And it was I think it was April 30th of 2016, so it was basically like a year ago that she last competed, and she won by submission. So
okay, what about Cynthia? Where's she out of, or where did she fight before?
Well, Cynthia, as we all know, she had a great performance last time out. I mean, she's actually just going to be her second main card that she's going to be on. You know what I mean? So impressive. They want to pump her up there because when she beat Amanda Cooper, choked her out, she showed some very high level, impressive Brazilian jiu-jitsu skills, in which a lot of the Team Alpha Male guys, they're very, very great on the ground and very capable of subbing defense there. And I think that'll be her advantage in this fight here because she's fresh. She just competed. Pearl, we haven't seen her in over a year, although she is very tough. I've heard a lot of people who have followed her career in that, and they really like to see what her skill set can do against Calvillo, as she's very high level herself. And like I mentioned before we went live, or when we started the show, Calvillo is basically taking Paige Van Zant's spot, and she's one hell of a fucking fighter. Not knocking Paige Van Zant, she is a fighter. She's an actual UFC fighter, but Calvillo, she is high level, and I think she's got bigger days coming. I think she gets through this fight rather easily with Pearl, and she's not on the main card for no reason, Eddie, especially for the second time. So they got high hopes for this gal, and I think Cynthia handles business too for sure because like I said, based on a recent performance, she didn't really even break a sweat in that fight. So it's really it's her time to shine, Eddie, and I got Calvillo by decision in a real impressive decision as well.
Yeah, and look, Pro Gonzalez she's not a pushover, man. She's solid as shit. If you watch any of her fights outside of the UFC, she's pretty good everywhere. I mean, in my opinion, she's pretty good everywhere. So, but I like how Calvillo finishes her last fight. And it's a quick turnaround, so that kind of momentum I think is going to help her out, and I think it's going to be it's going to be a plus for her. So I like Calvillo on this one by decision. I don't think it's going to be a finish like last time. In fact, I'll tell you what, I think this is my second pick for possible fight of the night. Because these girls,
very well.
well, here's the thing: in the face-off, and I know people are like, "Oh, it's just a fucking face-off, whatever the fuck." But in the face-off, out of all 5 fights in the main card, they're the only 2 that got testy. The only ones. Everyone else was like, "Yeah, okay, whatever, shake hand, fuck off, whatever." But these girls were just like, "Nah, bitch, got something to prove now." So it's gonna be on. I like Calvillo on this one, but I wouldn't be surprised if Gonzalez makes it like a grind out, like you better bring your fucking lunch and your dinner, bitch, like kind of fight. So I'm expecting a sick ass fight out of this one. But what are the odds on this one?
Yeah, I was gonna say the odds are in the favor of Calvillo. She's a favorite, minus 260, and Pearl plus 230. But also worth mentioning too, Cynthia Calvillo down with represent. So we got to go with Cynthia on this one, absolutely, Eddie. So for sure.
Yep. Get yourself your gear, reptheadvocates.com. Backpacks got just back in stock. Limited time, get your shit. All right. Moving on. Co-main event of the evening, the former middleweight champion. By the way, was the All-American, was that his nickname before this shit started, before he got to the UFC, or did someone just give that to him?
Well, he still does bring the flag, you know, to the cage. And
yeah, but I think it's like a Dana White fucking promotion move. I think, like, whatever. Anyway, former middleweight champion Chris Weidman taking on Gegard Mousasi, former Strikeforce, former Dream, former somebody somewhere else. What did he fight? Whatever. He's like a fucking like 3 or 4 promotion champion, former champion. He's a sick motherfucker, and he's been overlooked way too goddamn long. UFC. You can tell who I'm picking. Gegard motherfucking Mousasi gonna take this fight. Okay, not because Chris Weidman can't win it, but because Gegard Mousasi has evolved every fight we've seen him, and he's gotten better and better. Okay, Chris Weidman hasn't shown any to me, hasn't shown any improvement whatsoever. If anything, what's the last fight he fought? Who he fight last?
Yoel nearly killed him.
He ate that giant knee, right?
Yeah.
Okay, before that was the lost to Rockhold.
Yeah.
Okay. Apart from those two, he still had, to me, I haven't seen any evolution out of him. His wrestling is top notch. His jiu-jitsu is top notch. His hands are good. Gegard Mousasi, in my opinion, is better with the hands. And you know, while Gegard Mousasi used to have that reputation that Condit has, where Condit you could literally just blow at him and he fucking falls over, and jumps right into guard. Gegard Mousasi used to kind of be like that. Not recently. He's gotten a lot better. He's been saying, "Oh, he's not going to take me down this fight. He's not going to be able to." And if he doesn't, I'll pop right back up. He's been training his wrestling like a motherfucker. He's going to need it in this one because Chris Weidman will make it a long night. If you let him take you down, he's going to make it a long night. But I like Gegard in this one. I think Gegard's going to finish his fight, man. I think Gegard needs a massive, massive win. I think he's going to come in and he's going to go for broke, try to get a TKO finish or a knockout finish or a finish. He needs a finish right here. All right. In order to make a case for that middleweight title shot that I believe he's already deserved for a while, okay, it's gonna take an impressive finish. So I got Gegard here by some kind of finish. I'm gonna say TKO or knockout in the second or third round. Who you picking?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of that, Eddie. I mean, I follow both these guys' careers for many years, man. I mean, it's gonna be 50th fight for Mr. Gegard Mousasi. The guy's 31 years young, 50 fights in, and a straight killer, man. I mean, he's my known tough bastard of the year for last year. He was my fighter to watch out for in 2017, besides Mad Max Holloway, who will indeed be shining very soon, and he's the next fucking superstar. But besides that, Gegard Mousasi, like you said, much deserving of a title shot, especially if he does get a finish win over the All-American Chris Weidman in New York. New York wasn't good to Chris Weidman last time out. Give it all the credit to Chris Weidman as he continues to take on nothing but top-notch killers. And Gegard likewise too, though, man. I mean, lightning did strike once, and Uriah Hall did knock him out. I did hear about what is it? I think Chris Weidman in an interview is saying he's going to knock out Gegard Mousasi, a guy who's never been knocked out besides, like I said, the lightning in a bottle Uriah Hall fight. But Weidman's just been saying a whole lot of crazy shit. Like, I don't know, man. It's hard to gauge like where Chris Weidman is because he's racing back into a dangerous fight here against a guy who just does not give a fuck. Like, he doesn't give a shit that it's New York, doesn't care if it's Vegas, doesn't matter. He's showing up to beat the fucking shit out of you and prove his case. And I think in an impressive win, call out the champ, call out Bisping. I mean, we don't know who the fuck Bisping is actually fighting. So Gegard really can make a statement with the win over Weidman. Even in a tough decision where he dominates, I think there's great shine to that too. But if he's ended up finishing Weidman, holy shit, man. You know what I mean? Because the odds are very, very close here. They're near even, -110. So I really think that Weidman, man, he's got a lot of pressure on him, man. More pressure than I think the 205 fight, our 205 card where he got decapitated nearly by Yoel. Man, it's strange, man. Weidman's in a strange place. I think Gegard is going to be very impressive, and he's going to show people what he's all about. And this being his the biggest fight of his career. And each fight, every time out, like you said, Eddie, Gegard is evolving. He's a stone cold killer. He looks like he doesn't want to be in that cage, but he'll put you out just as quickly so he can get back to Holland and train and improve his craft. And just love what the guy's doing. I like the place that he's in right now. And he's a dangerous dude for Chris Weidman to fight. So Gegard by a very, very tough, fucking gritty decision. But he'll dominate though. And Weidman, chop, 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 back to the wood pile and God knows what the fuck they do with him after a loss here. It's gonna be very strange for Chris Weidman. Hopefully they don't interview him when he gets fucking destroyed.
Yeah.
And that he can say some dumb shit after in New
God,
York.
like
Hopefully that doesn't happen.
Fuck.
But honestly, Gegard, like I said, Fred Kirby was here with us, our man Fred. Gegard is the guy to beat at 185. So
Yeah.
Weidman's going to continue, whatever he's like, I'm the champion. I want my belt back and this and that. Hold up, son. You got Gegard Mousasi in front of you.
What are the odds on this one?
Near even, -110, both sides.
God damn, it's a fucking sick. That's a pick on. It's crazy. All right.
It's
yeah.
Title implications all the way more for Gegard, but Weidman, man, if Weidman could finish Mousasi, holy shit, like holy fucking shit. That's a moment right there. MMA moments for sure.
No, I agree. All right, moving on. Main event of the evening. We got the light heavyweight title on the line by a pound and a half, almost a pound and a half, 1.2 pounds. That's how close it was to not being the title fight for at least one of these gentlemen. Daniel Cormier defending his belt against Anthony Rumble Johnson. Look, we know both guys bring to the picture, right? DC has elite level, wrestling. All right, he's got the ground and pound. He's a heavy guy, especially when he's fully hydrated and in bed and all that shit. His hands aren't. He doesn't have bad hands. He has solid striking, and people are always like, "Oh, he's a wrestler." Yeah, he's a wrestler, but he's got hands. Like you need to. I mean, look. You remember when he kept grabbing Jon Jones in the back of the head and just uppercutting his ass the whole time? He can fucking throw. All right. But he's taking on Anthony Rumble Johnson, who is a scary motherfucker. Like, and to think that Anthony Rumble Johnson used to fight at 170. Okay, he hit Dan Hardy. He hit Koscheck. I know Koscheck choked him out, but he hit Dan Hardy. He, fought Vitor Belfort. He's fought so many dudes at 170, 185 already, and he's finally settled down at 205, which is great. He's taller than DC, which is funny, but regardless, Anthony Johnson coming in, it's hard for me to say that he doesn't have a better chance because he does definitely have a better chance, right? But I mean, what was the fight that he stuffed a couple takedowns against Gustafsson, right?
Who, Anthony Johnson?
Yeah. Like his wrestling, like defense or takedown defense got a lot better, in my opinion, in the last couple fights. So, 3 fights, I think 3 fights. I'll finish his 7 minutes in the cage altogether. Can he do it one more time against Daniel Cormier? If Cormier can withstand that, that firestorm that he comes out in, that Rumble comes out in to finish the fight, I think he's going to go similar to how it went last time. But Cormier has had the distractions. He's definitely been flustered a lot. And the weight cut issue is definitely going to be a little something to think about when making a pick on this fight. I'm still taking DC. And I know a lot of people don't like DC and everything, but thinking about it in terms of who is more likely to win this fight and who has more tools to win this fight, I think it's Daniel Cormier. I think Anthony Johnson is like the Mike Tyson MMA. I think he's got to touch you to knock you out. Now, mind you, if he touches you, he's gonna hurt you. In the very least, he's gonna hurt you. All right, and he's got that chance, man. And I think we're gonna see DC eat a couple big shots before he gets that takedown and is able to grind him down. But I like DC probably by submission again, man. It's I think it's gonna be a longer fight. I think it's gonna be 2 rounds again. I think it's gonna be a much longer fight. But I think it's gonna be kind of more of the same, man. Who are you picking in this one?
You made a lot of great points, Eddie. I mean, like you said, Mike Tyson MMA, Anthony Johnson, he hasn't had a whole lot of cage time. You know what I'm saying? Like this guy's been, like you said, a whole 7 minutes. You know what I mean? Cormier, last time we seen him, he was in there against, the previous GOAT, Anderson Silva, taking him down, fighting a shit fight there, and actually Silva saving the card. Credit to him. But we all know who he was supposed to fight that night. It didn't happen. We all knew Jon Jones had some serious shit happening at the time. But now, of course, Jon Jones is factored into the equation, and I hope this is not a big distraction for DC. It actually could help him that Jon is there, and you know what I mean? If Jon's there, that's a motivating thing for Cormier. As he always says, I've been training to fight Jon for forever, you know what I mean? And he said during this camp, too, as well. I think Jesse brought it up, is he's training to fight Jon, but he feels that he has, Anthony covered as far as, like, anything that he's going to throw at him. DC's a fucking bulldozer, man, so if he gets a hold of you, puts you down, he's super relentless, and I think he already knows that he sees a path to victory in many different ways. As he knows, Johnson's just got the the heavy striking. And even Jon Jones himself said that Anthony Johnson's a one-dimensional fighter, you know what I mean? And he says that there's many ways to beat that man, or many ways to beat fighters of his caliber, big, heavy, muscular, fast twitch guys, you know what I'm saying? So I just think that the Luke Rockhold, the way that Cormier has been training with Luke, sort of similar to what Anthony Johnson does. It's just Luke's 185er, but I just know that there's DC's done his homework, man. Johnson hasn't had a whole lot of cage time, and I think this fight is it's favored. I mean, a lot of rematches are favored towards whoever won the first fight, especially when you're talking Daniel Cormier here, where he's never been beat other than John. John didn't finish him. They fought a close decision. Johnson, man, if he can fight the fight that he fought against Phil Davis and, stop some takedowns, be hesitant, don't go at him, and try to throw some dynamite right away. Who knows? That may be his best case scenario, because Cormier said that if Anthony Johnson doesn't go full fucking force at him, then he doesn't have a chance in the world. But dude, so I'm assuming that we see Johnson go completely full force at him the minute the fucking first round starts.
I fucking love Twitter. I love the people on Twitter. There's people that are testing out the towel thing. And this guy is he just put it. So let me throw this guy's name out there. At Marcus McCowan, Marcus MACCOWAN on Twitter tweets out, I just tested this towel holding thing from 223 to 216 with barely any pressure. DC done fooled NYSAC.
Oh, Marcus. Yeah, he lives here in New Mexico. I know who you're talking about. I think he's a New Mexico guy.
I don't know. He has a fucking lucky, like a Irish luck thingy next to his name.
He's a New Mexico guy for sure. I know who it is.
Okay, well, that guy. He took a picture of himself on a scale of 223 and apparently put a little bit of pressure on his counter, and he got to 216. So that's just funny. I like that whoever actually fucking replied to him says, cheater, compulsive eater, DC. Like, look, DC's cutting down from mad heavyweight. This guy used to fight at heavyweight because he hates, because he's a big motherfucker. All right, bone structure, the weight, genetics, all that shit. Okay, so I'm not surprised at all that he had to do what he had to do to make that weight. Now, I asked a couple of friends of mine that are wrestlers, from college to high school and all that shit, and they never even tried that. But they said that there are other tricks you can use, but that they're easily to detect it or whatever the fuck. No, I'm not talking like steroids or any kind of PEDs, like little tricks here and there. So I was just like, hey, well, fuck. But I asked him, I was like, would that work? He's like, if they let you touch the towel, yeah, it'll work. So it's funny as hell. Someone needs to get on Twitter and just take all of these different people doing that shit, testing it out, and just put them all on a blog, because it was awesome. Literally, it's awesome to see people doing it. But the weight cut, the fact that it was a tough weight cut on DC, he actually talked about it. You think that's going to factor in?
Yeah, he seems to always look like shit at any weigh-in, though, and then he comes out.
Oh, he looks like death.
Yeah, he's one of those guys, man. And like you said, previous heavyweight. I mean, the guy probably would have competed at heavyweight had his boy Kane not have been the holder of the title at the time when he entered the UFC as a heavyweight. So
and he would have won the heavyweight title, please believe.
Yeah, I agree to that, and I think this fight here, like I said, the way what it breaks down to is like this fight is a ticket to fight John. I think John knows that he's got to build up some type of like you said, he's got unfinished business with Anthony Johnson, is what he said in an interview. Of course, he blasted Cormier for the towel gate, for everything that happened with the weigh-in and shit. But honestly, Cormier has made a living of making weight and defending the title, making championship weight. So something was up with that fucking scale and that towel and that bullshit. But as long as we have the title on the line, I'm pleased. I never thought we'd see Daniel make it to this fucking fight. And I kind of was fucking with people on Twitter telling everybody he's pulling out. But it still came down to some controversial towel shit. So we're past that. Weight's been made. Rumble Johnson, man, this is his time, man. I mean, if he wants to make the bucks and rise up and fight the great Jon Jones, if that fight ever takes place, be a huge fight. I mean, it's a different opponent, a fresh opponent. I don't know, man. It kind of what I'm hearing from John, it seems like John wants to fight Rumble and doesn't really want to fight DC. So if you guys haven't checked out the Jon Jones interview where he addresses the media, do check that out. Take what you want from it. I heard what I needed to hear from John in that interview. So interesting stuff when it comes to Johnny Bones. And I'm just hoping for a clean title change of hands tomorrow. And I think DC does retain the title.
God,
and really puts puts Anthony Johnson in a tough spot, because if he gets finished, I mean, Anthony Johnson, we all know about his coaches saying don't quit in the first fight, and hearing him in the corner. So it's really like, it's mind games. You had Jon Jones in the mix about him possibly entering the cage and pulling like some WWE
Fuck
shit.
that. No, stop that shit. I don't want to see none of that shit fucking happen. That's just stupid. That's some fucking WWE shit. That pisses me off when the media go, well, fuck it, do you guys think Jon Jones gonna come in the cage? Blah, blah, blah. Do you fucking think Dana White's gonna allow Jon Jones to come in the cage with Daniel fucking Cormier after that bullshit that happened in Vegas? Are you fucking nuts? Yes, he's gonna allow that shit because it's fucking WWE shit. WWE is gonna allow that motherfucking thing. And I hope these two idiots fucking fight each other and they both get fucking suspended. So WME and UFC can go fuck themselves on this shit. I'm sick of the WWE shit, dude. It's seriously annoying as fuck when they go, well, the fucking heel and the fucking this and the fucking that and blah, blah, blah. Well, shut the fuck up with that shit. This isn't fake. This is real. Just fucking go in there and fight. Fuck.
Oh, yeah. Couldn't agree with you more, Eddie. I mean, if anybody listens to our show, listens to my opinion, how we see fights, we're all about the competition. We're all about the fighter, the best fighting the best. We don't care for these interim titles. We don't care for this fluff. Back in the day, like I referenced it before, when Jon Jones was on his rise, tearing through the competition, there was not an embedded, there wasn't any pre-fight shit. All you heard about is Jon showing up to make the weight, do a small presser, and then we see the fight. I miss those days. I mean, I know what it's all for now. It's all about, getting the eyes of the sport, bringing pay-per-views in, all these Bud Light fans. But in the end of the day, I'm all about clean title changes of hands and the best fighting the best. So in this situation, it's a ticket to fight Jon, who is the best, never lost, unfinished business with Rumble, much anticipated rematch with Cormier that we didn't see. And we'll see one, and I think it's going to be the Cormier-Jones matchup. And it's sort of crazy, too, because Jon's not even eligible to fight as of right now, but he's there.
What bothers me. That's what bothers me about this whole bring him into the cage shit. Look, for as much shit as people give DC and boom and all this other stuff, because DC wants to so badly be loved that he overdoes it and he's hated, okay? But for all that shit, he's not wrong. He's not. Jon Jones is an asshole. Fucking hitting pregnant women, doing drugs left and right, fucking his own career. You and I talk about it all the time. How are you so goddamn talented? And the only thing stopping you is you fucking your own life up. Okay. But I love what DC said. He's like, why would he even be in there? He's not even eligible to fight. I don't give a fuck about no Jon Jones. I mean, even on SportsCenter, DC was like, I'm not answering any questions about Jon Jones. And what does this fucking asshole on SportsCenter go? Well, Jon Jones is gonna be in the building. And DC's like, I'm not answering no fucking questions about no Jon Jones. Fuck Jon Jones.
Yeah, I don't blame him. And like I said, I think it was on the Advocates episode, the best thing that DC can do is if he shreds up Johnson, Jones is going to be there. Say, hey, fuck you, Jon Jones. You didn't show up. You tried to cheat me, like he said. And it's real interesting, too, because Jon Jones finds himself in this position where he's judged by every single MMA fan, whether they're hardcore fans, followers, personal fans of his for his career. Because we know what Jimmy Manuwa said about the questionable steroid usage. Anthony Johnson feels the same way. DC feels the same way, and all those guys are right near the top, and they all feel the same about Jon. So it's a little bit of a.
What if most of his career he was on some shit? If not all of his career was on some shit, and all those spectacular wins were because he was on some shit. And now that he's like forced to be clean, he ends up getting owned.
He gets real defensive in that conference when asked him. There's only like two brave journalists, or whoever they are, they're actually trying to hint about the topic, about the real shit that gone on, because Jon, in his own mind, he knows what happened. He knows exactly what happened.
Yeah, because he did it.
I know what fucking happened. I swear to God. I promise you guys. Because honestly, Jon, what it comes down to, like you said, Ed, is he's his own worst enemy. Dana White said it. The guy has only fought once in 2 years.
And he still wants to talk like he's the best and shit. Fuck out of here.
And he basically, if you, like everybody that's listening to this show, or if you haven't listened to the Jones interview, listen to it. It's the same old Jon. It's what I hear. I mean, I'm a huge Jon Jones supporter, follower, but just the shit that guy's saying, it just seems like he has not learned his lesson. He seems like everything is just supposed to happen. Like whatever has happened is meant to be. And I mean, the guy's got a lot of room to just come back. And he's lucky. He's still young though, Eddie. The motherfucker is lucky. He's still young.
He's young, but he's an asshole. Hey, if anyone was watching LFA, I just got sent this tweet. This one dude takes a square quick kick to the dick, and he falls over, and he's almost in tears on the ground.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I feel bad. Look, man, it's always funny when you get kicked, when someone gets kicked in the balls, when it's not your balls. When it is your balls, it's the worst thing that ever happened in the history of ever. But anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, anyway. But look, John, we'll talk about Jon Jones when it gets to it, but the fact that he keeps like sabotaging his own career because of the choices and the people he hangs around with, it's kind of on him, man. We could be talking about him in a year or so. We either talk about him making the triumphant, comeback and getting back to that best ever, or maybe the best ever, competition, or we could talk about a wasted talent because he didn't have any discipline whatsoever, which is hard to do when you have Chandler Jones, your brother, who's a Super Bowl champion with the Pats, now a defensive end for my Cardinals, making a ton of money, fucking sacking the quarterback, and his other brother Arthur Jones won a title with the Ravens, I think it was, or the Colts, one or the other. But I think he has a title too, a ring.
And then what I was gonna say about Jones,
it is what it is, man. What?
The scenario, I think DC brought it up too. It's fucking funny that he actually brought it up because I don't know if you guys seen the tweets or there's like a promo thing for Jones having this after party. Where, so see, DC was really just thinking like, this is the stupidest thing you could do. He's like, congratulations, Malky Kawa. You're having a party for your guy who's a recovering alcoholic. He's still on probation. He's got a ton of fucking problems, but hey, let's have a party. You know what I mean? So who knows, man? Last time John was in New York, that's when everything went bad for him. He crashed the fucking Bentley that Dana White gave to him with 2 chicks in the car. Ever since then, it's been, Jon Jones' downfall, honestly. And it all stemmed from the whole Bentley accident. People kind of forget about that. But it got much more worse when he became a resident of New Mexico. We all know that specifically here in Albuquerque. But the guys, time will tell, though, Eddie. That's all it is. And I think that's what he said in the interview is like, we'll see what fans, how they take it back. And I'm assuming that the Jon Jones dick riding train will probably take new heights in the coming months. But we all know the facts, and we know what these top 205 guys that are actually going to be competing against him, their view on him, which has completely changed. You know what I mean? And so this supposed GOAT tag and everything that everybody likes to use, John's got a lot to prove, and he's already proved a lot, but he's taken a lot of things to take a step back in his in a fucking historical career. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, look, he's got a chance to redeem himself, and look, man, for the sake of the sport and the fact that he's actually a good fighter and a fun fighter to watch, he's not just a fighter to take things safe. Let's hope for the best, but just going off, what he's done in his past, I don't think it's gonna happen. I think we're gonna see him fuck his life up again, and maybe even see him just throw his whole career down the toilet. Luckily, he's a millionaire. Supposedly, he still has money, so luckily he's a millionaire. So even if that happens, his family's not gonna starve. You know what I mean?
Well, he's charging people $100 to meet him and take pictures. So I don't know what that's about. But Malky Kawa,
I'm out. What?
Yep.
What? He's doing what?
There's like that party that I was mentioning that he has. I seen a flyer for it, and there's like a platinum package or a gold package and that, and it's like a meet and greet. You take a picture with Jones, and like that's what the whole thing is, and it's like at a big time club in New York, like Rochester, New York, or something. So good or bad, you know what I mean? Probably bad, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. So we know where Jon Jones is going to be post UFC 210. He's going to be at a fucking club.
Yeah, he better be at the club during the fight. Don't come in the fucking cage like an asshole. All right.
Yeah, I don't want to see that.
He's not even eligible till July, dude.
Exactly. See, so that draws a line right there. That pretty much sums it up. I mean, the guy's not an active fighter. I love that DC said that because fuck, if he had any reason to be there as an active fighter, active in the UFC, makes perfect sense. But let DC have his moment and defend his title, and then we'll talk later because I think DC's got to do the talking once the fight concludes, though, for sure. Yeah.
Hey, real quick on the DC thing before we go on the DC made a comment on the towel thing. He goes, there's actually a video of this. You can go to Brett Okamoto's Twitter at BOKAMOTO ESPN on Twitter, and he's got the video up on here from a few hours ago. Or you could probably find it on YouTube as well. But Cormier talks about the towel thing. He goes, we went in the back and they informed me that the New York State rules, you can actually reweigh. And if you don't make it, you have 2 hours to actually make the weight. So I started feeling pretty confident after that. But he's talking about he was holding the towel up to cover his junk. And he was not trying to manipulate the scale. Here's the problem. Here's where everyone's losing their fucking shit. And I just watched the GIF like 15 times. I always fuck that word up, by the way, or that whatever acronym. But you see his hand is not like this. It's not grabbing shit. It's like this. Like, you see that right there? Like that. The towel is right on the edge, on the middle of his hand, and he's fucking pushing it down. or at least leaning on it in some sort of fashion. It's hard for people to not say some bullshit. Other fighters are like, oh, it's that old trick. Fucking the Hammer. I'm embarrassed that I forget his name.
Mark Coleman
tweeted out just a bunch of laughing. That's all it was. Like, he fucking knew. You know what I mean? So
wrestlers know.
Oh, wrestlers fucking know. Wrestlers know that trick. All right, it's horse shit. So again, I'm not mad at him for it. Whatever you gotta do to make sure this is a title fight, fine. Okay. And people were like, oh, he's a fucking cheater, all this other shit, whatever. And, you know, Jones wanted to say it's the worst thing I've ever seen in sports. Seriously, I read that and I was like, really, bro? Really? That's the worst thing you've seen in sports?
He had to say something. He had to say something, right?
Here's the thing about Jon Jones. I can't believe we start talking to this motherfucker, but Jon Jones is at least starting to own the fact that he's a fucking asshole. He's full of shit. He's at least owning it. So I can appreciate that. Okay? Yeah. But that's it. That's all I can appreciate about him. That's it. Everything else is just fuck it, dude. Until you fight again, who gives a fuck? All right. Anything else you want to talk about before we
go? Yeah. Before we get going, I want to let everybody know tomorrow night here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, King of the Cage, Starbound, the interim title will be on the line, welterweight title. Anthony Ironman Rosema against Desmond Hill. Ironman Rosema out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, actually Rio Rancho. Co-main event, atomweight fight. Jamie Hinshaw against Casey Robb. Definitely a sweet matchup there. Jamie Hinshaw, known with the Fit NHB, trained with Tim Means down at that camp. A lot of local guys, Nick Gonzalez out of Jackson Wink. Actually, Chris Breezy Brown, who trained with Diego Sanchez, trains at Jackson Wink, will be competing as well. And I believe we may even actually have him on the show tomorrow on ESPN Albuquerque. So look out for some tweets. I probably try to join up with Robert from Fightbook MMA, do a little some preview of the King of the Cage on the air. I'll look out for them tweets, of course. And I may, in fact, miss the entire card of 210 because I'll be covering the event, the King of the Cage. So just everybody let you know, Rio Rancho, New Mexico, King of the Cage should be a nice turnout. I think a lot of tickets have been sold. So
yeah, it's funny. I never understand why like small promotions always make their cards during UFC events. It's happened before. It happens all the time actually. So what are you gonna do? You got to put them sometime, and the UFC dominates Saturday nights, unfortunately, for a lot of other promotions. Anyway. I'm probably missing the whole card. Actually, I know I'm going to miss the whole card. I'm supposed to compete tomorrow at NABJJF in Phoenix, but as you can see, not healthy enough to fight. So unfortunately, I'm missing it. But my team, my entire Kyle Terra Association team is going to go. So I'm going to go support J Page's Jiu-Jitsu and all my teammates, especially my trading partner, my brother, Rob Hale. He's going to go in there and take them golds again, motherfuckers, so watch your asses. Anyway, so I'm going to be over there all day. I'll be tweeting back and forth with people. So if you watch the fights, just send me results and crazy shit that happens and gifts, whatever.
Yeah, if you're watching.
Georgie was just like making fun of me on fucking YouTube because he's like GIF. But anyway, on the gift, send me that shit. What were you saying?
I was going to say, please let us know which fight Todd Anderson is refereeing because I'm most intrigued by that specific fight.
That's the thing you look forward to the most? All right. Hey, look, I don't mind it either. That's got to be at least funny, right?
I have a feeling it's going to be the Sin Cavillo fight. Pearl, he's going to ref that bout.
We can look that up, but I just don't fucking want to. Anyway. Anyway. All right. So that's going to do it for us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, you can follow Dave at Dave's MMA Brief. Dave's MMA Brief, right?
Yep.
I always forget the fuck the S is at. Dave's MMA Brief, whatever. Follow me at Eli31. The page is at CrossBonesMMA. Of course, at the MMA Advocates. You can hit up CrossBonesMMA.com. And yes, it is supposed to take you directly to YouTube. We used to have the website thing. Here's a problem with that, and I explained it a few times, but I'm going to keep explaining it until people stop asking. Maintaining a website is a pain in the ass. I'm just telling you right now because I've done it for years, and I finally had enough. Because, look, all you guys are watching is our podcast anyway. It's on video. Let's go right to the YouTube. So, yeah, CrossBonesMMA.com is supposed to take you to the YouTube channel. Goes direct. You get all our shit on there. It's fucking sick, all right?
Also go to Fightbook MMA. Check out everything on there. Our podcast is on there as well as a lot of other great MMA podcasts. So for all our content there, audio only.
A lot of support. So, a lot of support from him. And then, of course, reptheadvocates.com. Represent. Get the gear, get the shirts, get the hats. You see Dave holding up the logo. They got backpacks. I have a backpack. Fuck, I can show you my backpacks right here. You can get the backpack. Legit fucking shit right there. Sick as fuck. Got a laptop fucking sleeve and everything, so I take my laptop everywhere, so it works out. Also, they have duffel bags. I got one of those too. That's where I put my jiu-jitsu gear. Shirts, hats. They got all of it. Water bottles and more cool shit coming. Please believe more cool shit's coming. So, do yourself a favor and do us a favor. Go to reptheadvocates.com, get yourself some gear, and you know, go out there representing. So, for myself, Mr. Dave Rodriguez, Jesse Ubakawa, who couldn't make it tonight, but he really wanted to be here. But of course, you know, life happens. And Nick Pilecki, Fred Kirby, Aaron Robbins. Oh, he probably doesn't give a shit. And everybody else, appreciate it. Huh?
Where the fuck is Aaron Robbins at?
Aaron Robbins probably doing something important. Or more important than this, like drinking beer.
We'll catch up with you on Sunday, Aaron. We'll see you Sunday.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be fun. Oh, yeah, that's right. The Verbal Scrap, Sunday night. Make sure you tune in and watch it. We've been getting a lot of good reviews from that one. A lot of people are enjoying it. We're gonna tweak it. Every episode's gonna be a little more tweaked to make it more fun. So please, you know, be patient. Keep watching. And it's gonna do it for us, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy UFC 210 tomorrow night. Rumble against DC for the title. And yeah, good night, Wiltshire. Catch you guys later.